Hey, Coach, how are you guys COVID-wise, and how is the team doing in regards to COVID-19 and all the cases and tests and whatnot?
Well, we think we're, in this, knock on wood, in as good a shape as we can be in. We obviously had a situation the day following our Oklahoma game, so I guess that was Friday morning, and but everybody else has tested negative daily, and sometimes more than once a day. So we're going to Indy tomorrow with a healthy group. It's just a smaller group. We're minus three bodies right now.
Do you expect to have Dave and Tristan back starting on for the first game on Saturday, or?
Yeah, we expect to, unless something happens. But the one thing I've found out through this, probably as much as anybody, you expect the unexpected. But we'll see. I'm not privy to comment on specifics, but I'll stick to what I've said all along, that we anticipate those guys joining us this week.
Hey, Coach, you had the ups and downs in January, February, and March, won 8 of 9. Do you like the draw you got, and just any thoughts on the West region?
Well, I think that since that's the draw we got, I might as well be comfortable with it and like it, and I certainly don't dislike it. I don't know enough about Eastern Washington yet, but I know we're already on that right now. And I'm actually glad that we have an extra day, not only for them, but for, all our bodies to get back and be together and practice together, at least closer to game time. So I thought that the draw we got was fair. Every draw is going to be hard. If you look at 3 seeds in the other brackets, they're hard. So, the one thing that jumps out at our bracket that would be the hardest thing, and I think there's 15 other teams that could attest to this, is that Gonzaga's in our bracket. So I don't think anybody's going to pick Gonzaga not to be a Final Four team, or very few would pick that if they do. So, to get to a Final Four, you're going to have to eventually somebody go probably through, one of the better teams our sport has seen in recent memory. So that's hard, but without that, Eastern Washington or Drake or Wichita State or USC, those are all hard games, especially for us since we're a little light-handed right now, and those are all hard, and certainly Iowa and Oregon being on the other side in that potentially in that 2-7 game. I mean those are all hard. So I think it's fair, but I don't think it's easy by any stretch.
Hey, being selected is obviously no surprise for you guys. You kind of know every year you're in, but what was the emotion like this year to seeing it, and especially coming off not having the thing last year?
I actually probably am as about excited as I've been on a Sunday of the selection show. I really thought we'd be a 3 seed. The only way we weren't going to be a 3 seed if somehow COVID factored into it. Our analytics positively said that we would be a 3 seed. And the thing that I mean, if you just look at that means you're one of the 12 best teams in the country by the committee's estimation, which is nice, and there's no question about that. But to think that where we were 6 weeks ago, thinking, we just hope we get in, to go from that to being a 3 seed, I think is, it's a pretty strong statement with how much our team got better and how much the players improved over the course of the last half of the season or last third of the season. So I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about any of the draws that we would have, but I would say that regardless of who we drew. But this was probably a little bit more exciting for me this year because, in the past years, we've had teams be 4 seeds, and this team isn't a 4 seed. And we talked about this team laboring more than any team that we've had here in recent memory and stuff. And to see them in a season that we've had, with so many distractions and everything, I'm really proud of them. I'm excited. Now the seed doesn't guarantee any advancement. It's about matchups now and all those things. But I don't think that this team could have put itself in a better position at all if you go back and to the end of January and say, hey, what's the best case scenario for this group without knowing who your matchups would be. I think our guys achieved that.
Did you sense the same from your players, or as far as just that statement you talked about from how much they improved? I mean, did they show any emotions of feeling that same way that you did?
I think I don't know that they showed as much emotion. The ones that would show the most emotion would be Mitch and Marcus and maybe Ochai, but the other ones wouldn't have shown much. They've never experienced this much. I mean, that's and so I think that they were proud of themselves, to be honest. I think they feel good about themselves, but not good in a way that we've accomplished anything, just good in a way, well, so far so good. We put ourselves in a decent position. Now we have to take advantage of this opportunity.
Hey, Coach,
what are the
following up
on-court?
on the feeling you were saying from a month ago, falling out of the rankings and now being named the number 3 seed, what have you seen from this year specifically with the team, with roles of leadership that have made this journey possible?
Well, I mean, the journey's just getting started, I hope, but I think that we have gotten tougher. I think our leadership has been better. I think we've become more coachable, and I'm not saying from a defiant standpoint, just from a buying in standpoint, this is what wins for us. I think that our defense has certainly gotten a lot better. And the thing about it is that we've run better offense. We've done a lot of things, and we're on probably about a roughest stretch as we've had all year long shooting the ball, and we're still playing better. So, you know, I got to believe shots will start falling at the most opportune times. So I've seen a lot of things that would equate to improvement. And I think the care level is extremely high too, which also gives you a chance, because when we were down and out, I don't think too many people were really believing in us. And I think we went through a period of time we didn't believe in each other or believe in ourselves. So really proud how they've been able to flip that switch.
Coach, what are the challenges the team's facing, entering the NCAA tournament, having played only twice in March?
Yeah, you know, that's there's a lot of teams that only play twice in March. You know, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it that we've only played twice in March, but we won both games. There's not too many teams. There's no teams in America that are going in with a 2-game winning streak in March unless they won their tournament. So, you know, we have some momentum in that regard. We would have liked to play, you know, at least one more game in Kansas City and hopefully 2, but we didn't get that opportunity. But we're practicing every day. I think that we'll be sharp by the time Saturday gets here.
Hey, Bill, have you heard anything about kind of the restrictions with this bubble thing and how it's going to work and how it's maybe different from a normal tournament kind of run and situation?
Yeah, I actually have, Kevin. They've given us some things. It's going to be much tighter. There's not going to be much leeway. There's not going to be, hey, tell us what you want type situation. It's going to be, we're told what we want, which is also good. We're not going to, you know, the higher seeded teams don't pick the times they want to practice. I mean, it's going to be a very strict and regimented schedule. So I don't know enough about it about how different it'll be, but, you know, we'll get there and we got to test as soon as we get there. And then we got to wait 12 hours and have it be the next day before you test again, before you can even leave your room to go do whatever you're going to do. So it's definitely going to be different. It'll be a tight ship.
Coach, you said you guys were heading to Indianapolis tomorrow. Is that correct?
Excuse me, Gus?
Yeah, you were saying you guys are heading to Indianapolis tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what we have been told. That we do not know the time or anything like that yet, Gus. But we've been told we'll be pulling out of here tomorrow. If we pull out of here tomorrow, anytime in the afternoon, we'll practice in the morning. If we pull out of here in the morning, we'll be off tomorrow because you can't do anything once you get to Indy that day. So we'll just have to wait and see. The only thing that will basically be a difference in our day is whether or not we can practice or not, based on what I've been told so far.
Sure. Thanks,
Bill, have
Coach.
you done the math on when the two guys can join you and when the third guy can join you?
Yeah. Well, obviously the most recent positive test. I mean, anybody can do the math. So we think that that won't be until we complete the first two games if we're fortunate enough to advance. And so other ones we hope to get there this next week, as long as nothing negative happens in the meantime. So we're not going to count our chickens before they hatch, so to speak. But there's a it's just a daily deal that you get nervous every time you test, and we'll just have to wait and see how the tests go.
Got time for a couple more.
Bill, do you have any plan in place for how you will bring those guys along when they are able to come back, or is you kind of have to play by ear as well?
Yeah, I don't know who asked that question, but that's a good one. I don't have I've never gone through this. I don't have a plan in place. I think a lot of it will depend on how they feel. A lot will depend on what our medical staff says that they can possibly do. I know there's some people that have gone through this and they've really labored with it for a period of time, especially those that have had symptoms or severe symptoms. And there's some that have gone through this that basically didn't have severe symptoms that actually come back and be closer to full strength than what you probably anticipate. So it's a crapshoot. I do not know, and it's just an unknown right now.
Hey, with the three guys out, have you thought about how you're going to handle the rotation? I mean, will other guys that maybe don't play as much have to step up a little?
Oh, there's no question. I haven't given Tyon Grant Foster many opportunities to play, but as long as we all stay healthy from this point forward, he's going to get every opportunity to be an impact player for us in this tournament.
Do you feel how do you feel about your tournament experience when you look at a guy like Ochai? He's a veteran on your team, but he's only played 2 tournament games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not an experienced tournament team by any stretch. David's the same way. Even when David's back, he played in 2 games. You got a situation with Marcus, who is by far the most experienced we've had, and he was on a team that went to the Final Four. But so he's played in 6 games. But there's not a lot of tournament experience out there, but you can probably say that about most of the teams in America right now. Since you didn't play last year, look at Texas, one of the most experienced teams in the country. How much tournament experience they had, and you look at Okie State, who's really young. How much tournament experience they've had. So when you eliminate a year from the resume, and kids are only in their second or third year in college, that definitely cuts the experiences, in many cases in half. And so we won't be an experienced team, but I'm not sure there will be a ton of experienced teams if you're referring to strictly NCAA tournament type experiences.
Hey, Coach, could you talk about the importance of guard play in the tournament? And do you have a guy that you want taking that final buzzer beating shot?
Well, hopefully you're one of your better shooters, or your best competitor, or a guy that you just have supreme confidence in. We've had some guys that were really good in late game situations, whether it be Mario or Sharon or Devontae or Frank or whoever it is. This year's team, we haven't really developed a guy like that, but based on Ochai's aggressiveness and how he's shooting the ball right now, and Marcus, regardless of what anybody says, the ball will be in his hands, in a late game situation, and he's got to become a little bit more aggressive, trying to look to score and those sorts of things. So I think we have confidence in different guys shooting the ball for that shot, but I just actually hope we're in that position multiple times in this tournament. That means we're probably advancing, and that means that we're playing pretty well if games are coming down to the final possession. But it's still by committee more this year than it has been with most teams.
All right, thank you, Coach.
We got time for more, Chris, if we want to. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, actually wanted to ask just general on the Big 12. I'm sure just about everyone else is seated. What do you think of the way the conference kind of graded out by the committee?
Well, I think the conference graded out high. There's obviously the conference is very well respected to have, 4 teams on the three line or better. 3 were on the 3 line, and of course Baylor. I think those were all deserved. I got to be real candid with you. I was surprised Oklahoma State wasn't on a 3 line. I was a little surprised that Texas wasn't on a 2 line. And then I was a little surprised that Oklahoma was on the 8 line. I thought they could be a little bit better than that, or not better, but higher than that. But I think that every league in the country, you could probably go across, and the Big Ten can say, well, I thought this for that league, or ACC will say, well, I thought for sure Louisville was getting in. I mean, everybody's got something that they could say didn't go as exactly as they had hoped. But for our league to be represented by 7 out of 10 and all of them to be seated basically as high as they have, I think is a true testimony to how good our league is. And I think the committee respected that. But just because you respect it as a group, that doesn't mean sometimes that there's individual cases within a group that could be thought to be saying, we could have been this, or we could have been that. But once you've been in the tournament as much as we have and as much as I have, you realize that once you're in the tournament, it's not about where you're seated. It's about the matchups. And that's what's most important.
Hey, you mentioned Marcus being on that Final Four team. I wonder, when you get there with the team, do you take any time to tell those young guys on that roster, hey, soak this up, you're going to want to chase this feeling the rest of your career? Or do you just let them experience that, and maybe that's just natural?
When we get to where? When we get
the Final Four. Sorry, the Final Four.
Yeah, God dang, we got to win 4 games, Matt, before we even
No. I'm not talking about this year. I'm saying when Marcus was there as a freshman.
Of course we tell them to soak it up. Enjoy every moment. But the thing about it is, and enjoying every moment should not take away from the fact that the memories that you have now are going to pale in comparison to the memories you can potentially have. So it's one of those things, soak it up and enjoy it. But hey, we got real work to do now. So, I thought you wanted me to have a crystal ball talking about this team, but
no, you can if you want.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love if I had one and that was the case. But no, I think you want all the players to, when you're going through any type of good run, you want them to be able to actually enjoy the experience rather than looking back and say, I didn't take advantage of that. You want it to be a situation where you create memories, but you're also doing it and having the most fun you've ever had in your life.
Coach, as we know, millions of people make brackets. Most of them will be making them tonight or tomorrow. As a coach of a 3-seed team, do you make a bracket in your spare time?
No, I used to do that. I haven't made a bracket in probably 15 years. So, no, I will not do that. And to be honest with you, I could care less about the brackets. I care about one bracket. And to be honest, I care about, Eastern Washington, Drake, Wichita State, and USC. That's all I'm going to think about. The NCAA tournament is a series of 2-game tournaments. You got to go into a weekend and win a 2-game tournament, and that's all. That's the only bracket I'm thinking about.
Hey, Bill, this is Jerry Tipton in Lexington. I don't know if you're aware, if it matters, but Kansas has the second most all-time victories. Kentucky has the most. They have 5 more than Kansas. How important is that, not for this team necessarily, but just for the pride of the program and so on, to have the most?
Well, I will tell you this. I think Kentucky has rightfully so used that as a recruiting tool for decades. We're the winningest program in the history of college basketball. And rightfully so, we've said we're the second winningest program in the history of college basketball. I don't know that either one of those statements actually get you a player in today's time, but I do think it adds interest, and it certainly adds pride with your loyal fan bases and your alums. And so, we're in a situation where, obviously I am aware that we've narrowed the gap. But I don't know that exactly that it was 5 or 6 or whatever it was, but, and Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is. Is it 5 or 6, Jerry?
I believe it's 5.
So that means in order for us to pass it, we win a national championship. And if we were able to do that, then I would tell everybody in the world that this was what was going on. But the reality of it is that that's something that I really don't think something that happened in the 1930s really translates to how successful a program is now. But I do wish that we had that feather in our cap. And I know that Kentucky's been very proud that they've had that feather in their cap for a long time. So it'd be nice to catch them. It would be, but a lot of work left to do before that can happen.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys, thank you.